If you keep hearing this at listing appointments, we really like you. We just want to think about it. We're meeting one more agent. That usually means you didn't lose the listing at the end. You lost it in the first few minutes because most agents think listing appointments are about being impressive, having the right script, or handling the objections better. They're not. They're about making the seller feel certain that you are the obvious choice. And if you don't know how to do that, you'll keep losing listings you should have won. After 24 years in this business and over 1,000 homes I've sold and more listing appointments than I can count, I can tell you this: the agents who close most listings are not the flashiest. They're the ones who know how to control the conversation, lower the seller's anxiety, and lead the decisions before they ever ask for the business. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact shift that changes everything. Stop treating the listing appointment like a presentation and start treating it like a guided decision. And that's where more listings get won. Here's where most agents blow it though. They walk into listing appointment, try to impress the seller, so they start talking about marketing, social media, drone shots, open houses, Facebook ads, email campaigns, feature sheets, and they think the seller is sitting there saying, "Wow, this guy's amazing." They're not. Usually, the seller is silently asking 4 questions. Number 1, can this agent get me the most amount of money? Number 2, can this agent actually get my home sold? And number 3, how much am I really putting in my pocket? What's it going to cost me? And 4, which is the biggest one, this is where people make the decision: can I trust this agent? That's the listing presentation right there, folks. Not your slideshow, not your pitch, not your about me. Your job is to answer those 4 questions as clearly as possible. Sellers buy certainty. This is the shift. Sellers do not hire the agents who gave them the most information. In fact, that just floods them. They hire the agent who made them feel the most certain, because certainty closes. Confusion delays, and anxiety kills listings. See, a lot of agents know the market well, but when they sit down with a seller, their delivery feels hesitant, shaky. Their pricing feels vague. The process feels loose. The seller starts thinking, "I'm not sure this agent can lead me through this." That thought kills listings. So your goal is simple: reduce uncertainty step by step. And oh, by the way, I'm currently building a private community for residential real estate agents just like you who want to scale without burning out. If you want more time, better systems, and a predictable business year over year instead of this feast or famine cycle, I'll drop a link below. No pressure, just something I'm building for agents like you who want to work smarter, not longer. All right, back at it. The appointment starts before you arrive. If your appointment starts when you ring the doorbell, you're already behind. Top agents start winning the listing before they even walk in. That means asking better questions up front. Where are you moving? How soon do you need to be there? Do you need this home sold to make your next move? What are your biggest concerns? Have you ever sold a property before? Now you're not walking in blind. You understand motivation, timing, pressure points, and the seller starts feeling like you operate differently than the other 2 or 3 agents they're interviewing. Then before the appointment, send just enough useful information to position yourself properly. Not a giant attachment dump, just enough so you don't feel like a stranger auditioning. You want to walk in feeling like the likely choice. So here's how you do it. Set the agenda fast as soon as you meet with clients. I usually sit down, I go through my selling process. I explain how there's the first phase where we explain the process, then the go-to-market, and then the actual market the process. Right now, we're at the explain process. This meeting is about 15 to 20 minutes where I walk through the home, take a look at the features and benefits, make my notes, and any questions they have for me, at that point they can ask, and I will be asking them age of roof, windows, AC, furnace, all of those major components that are really important when I put together my analysis. See, by setting the agenda, you're gaining control of the situation. You're a professional. People want to hire an agent that knows what they're doing, that has a process. Now, when you tour the home, there's a strategy to that. See, a lot of agents waste this moment. It's a big mistake. The home tour is where the appointment actually starts to take shape. You're observing, you're taking notes, you're asking smart questions, you're showing them you notice the details. And more importantly, you're getting the seller to think they're preparing to sell. I'll ask things like, what are you planning to leave behind? What upgrades have you done that the buyers should know about? What do you think the buyers are going to love most about your home? That is not filler. That is just future pacing. Pricing is the battleground. So after you go through the property, then you're going to need a couple days to put together your analysis and you get into pricing. Now, pricing is the battleground. This is where most listing appointments are either won or they are lost. And this is where a lot of agents get weak. They either avoid the hard part or they turn it into an argument. Both are a mistake. A seller does not need you to dump comps on the table and hope they agree. They need you to lead them to clarity because every seller wants top dollar, myself included, and likely you as well. Every human being wants to get as much money for their home as possible. This seller you're sitting in front of is not unique. That's a human expectation. Every seller thinks their home shows better. Every seller has a neighbor down the street that told them what their property should be worth. I've sat there with sellers who wanted to test the market way too high because they thought all it takes is one buyer. I've had sellers point to a sale from 36 months ago and say that's what my home should be. I've had sellers say price doesn't matter because their home is unique. That's real life. So instead of arguing with them, you need to guide them. I'll say, let's take a look at how a buyer would view the property. That changes the tone immediately. I sometimes go a little bit deeper and I say, if you were a buyer today, interested in buying this home right here that you own, but say you're a buyer today, you have no attachment to this property, you don't own it, what would you pay for it based upon the current market? Boom. It changes like that. That is like one of the best one-liners I use in every single listing appointment. It's incredible. If you were a buyer today, what would you pay for it based upon the current market? Day one is everything. This is where almost every pricing conversation starts going sideways. A seller says, why don't we just try high and see? Sounds harmless. It's not, because day one matters more than most sellers realize. First days on the market is when you get the most amount of attention. In my marketplace, the first 3 weeks on the market is when the most amount of showings will happen. Average days on market hovers anywhere from like 20 to 30 days on market. So if you miss the market in your first round, yes, you can adjust the price and you'll get another little bump, but nowhere near the activity as when you first come on the market. That is the window. And if you overprice it, you lose momentum. Then buyers start asking the wrong questions. What's wrong with it? Why hasn't it sold? How low will it go? So I explain it like this. If we hit the market at the right number on day one, we create urgency, showings, and leverage. If we overshoot and sit, buyers start doubting the property. That usually costs you way more than pricing it accurately upfront. See, pricing it high does not create leverage. It destroys your leverage. On the whole pricing conversation, stop trying to win the argument. You don't need to win a pricing argument. You need to lead a pricing decision. So ask a better question like this. If a buyer sees your home and another similar option at a better value is on the market, what do you think happens? If we come out too high and sit, do you think buyers get more aggressive or less aggressive? Would you rather be priced to attract attention in week one or chase the market after buyers have already passed? See, questions lower resistance. They help the seller arrive at the conclusion without feeling cornered. That's how professionals handle the pricing conversation. Then get to the net. See, another place agents lose people is they talk too much about sale prices and not enough about what the seller actually walks away in their pocket. Net proceeds of sale, i.e., sale price, less fees. What do they put in their pocket? So show them the likely outcome. Talk it through. Probable sale range, selling cost, mortgage payout, approximate net proceeds of sale. Because once the seller sees the move financially, the decision gets real. And if they can't live with those numbers, you need that problem on the table now before you start spending money on staging, photos, drone, video, sign installation. All of these hard costs that you're not going to recoup. Your value has to feel real. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. If your value proposition sounds like this, I work hard, I care about my clients, I provide great service, I market aggressively. This is not value proposition. That's just used car salesman-y stuff. Every agent says it. So if you sound like everyone else, why would they choose you? Your value has to feel specific. What makes your process safer? What reduces the seller's risk? What makes them more confident hiring you? Maybe it's your communication, your sales process, how you manage the first week on the market, your pricing discipline. But it has to be real because sellers are not buying effort. Sellers are buying confidence, clarity, and a better chance at the result they want. Walk them through what happens next. Before you ask them for the listing, walk them through the next steps, the photos, the prep, the paperwork, the MLS, the showings, the offer, the conditions, the closings. Why do you do all this? Because when people can see the clear picture, they fear less. And when they fear less, they commit faster. A lot of sellers are not stalling because of commission. They're stalling because the process feels overwhelming. It's not clear. So when you bring a calm, clear roadmap, you become really hard to replace. The close should feel obvious. If you've done the appointment properly, the close should not feel dramatic. It should feel natural. Something like this. Based on everything we've gone through, I'm confident I can help you get the home sold the right way. Do you have any questions for me? Or are you comfortable moving forward? And then zip it. That's enough, because that close is not where you win the listing. The close is where you confirm the listing you already earned. So if you want to close more listing appointments, here's the real takeaway. Stop trying to impress the sellers. Start leading them. Lead the process. Lead the pricing conversation. Lead the emotional temperature of the room. Lead with structure, next steps, because sellers do not want more information. They want confidence, clarity, and they want to feel like this agent in front of me knows exactly what they're doing. This is what closes listing appointments. But let me be even more direct. If you cannot explain price clearly, you will keep losing listings you should have won. And that's exactly why you need to check out this video right here. Exactly how I do my CMAs. Because once you know how to build a CMA the right way and present the comps properly and walk the seller to the right pricing strategy, your listing appointments get a whole lot easier and conversion goes way up. Check it out right now.